Good evening, viewers around the world. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. This is SSM News Echo platform, but today we're on Real Talk, and we're talking politics, we're talking security. Today we're discussing issues that are patent, important issues that affect our lives. And with me is my colleague, my friend, and brother, George Chukwu, Bluetooth George. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome to Real Talk Politics.
Thank you so very much, Massive Mark. It is a pleasure to be here, just welcoming all the viewers from around the world on this day, discussing the political condition of Nigeria, the climate, and what has just happened just a couple of days ago when the election was held and the saga that is still going on. So we just want to welcome every one of you here today. Please join us and pay attention to what is going on, because the future of our country is at stake. And if we don't get it right this time, we might continue on the downward spiral where our nation will be no more. So please join us. Stay tuned. If you have questions or comments, join us, for we are seeking for the salvation of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, George. Real Talk Politics. So today we're diving into issues that addresses the Nigerian presidential election, the Inec server that was compromised on electoral results transmission. And to do justice to this wonderful issue is a cyber expert, Ekene Azubike. Ekene Azubike, you're welcome to Real Talk. I hope you can hear us loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for welcoming me too. So,
good. George, go ahead.
So Ekene is a cyber expert and also a legal mind here in Canada, but he operates all around the world, and he belongs to special groups of people that actually can go into the cyber security and discover some things, whenever it is going wrong. So we just want to welcome you here today, Ekene. Nigeria is in such a state of quandary. We don't know whether we're going forward, whether we are staying back, or whether we are just existing. Now, the politics that just took in Nigeria, the presidential election, we understand that so many things went wrong. It is all over the world. People are looking at it. So that's the reason why we are bringing you today as an expert in this area. As a matter of fact, you are one of the political observers on that day and cybersecurity observers. You were monitoring the election on that day until the servers were shut down, and you sent immediately it's shut down. You sent information out to let us know that this could be a compromise that is taking place. So we want to welcome you here today. So you have seen the outcry of the people during the just concluded presidential election on the transmission of the results from the polling units by Inec. Please, can you tell us, as a legal and also a cybersecurity mind, tell us what you think about this.
Thank you very much once again. You already made the introduction, so I don't need to introduce myself again. But regard to your question, I want to say one thing first before I answer your question. You see, INEC as an institution is not different from any other institution in Nigeria, which everybody is clamoring for change. I always say that what Nigeria needs is an institutional overhaul, because at this moment there is no single institution that is working perfectly well in Nigeria. And when it comes to INEC server and the election, The issue is I've been monitoring the server right from the time before the election remotely. And also, if you remember, on 8th of September 2022, I sent out an article calling for all the minority political groups to hire cyber security experts that will be in a monitoring room to monitor the movement and the upload, the exit, and the input of the result at the server. But it seems like nobody took that serious, so they did not take it serious as I advised to them. And I did not go further much on that article because I was not professionally engaged. Because as an ethical hacker, I'm not a malicious hacker. So I'm going to, let people know the distinction between the ethical hacker and the malicious hacker. A malicious hacker is someone who hacked, software for malicious purpose to gain interest, personal interest. An ethical hacker is someone who can be legally hired by anybody to test the vulnerability of his own cyberspace.
That's correct.
Now, when it comes to cyberspace, the Nigerian authority cyberspace is being polarized because they don't have a budget to protect it. So when you are talking about the Inec server, we have to talk about where this server is being hosted as an Inec. And you remember that I sent out an article last year that Inec website, inecnigeria.org, INEC website was about to expire by October. I raised an alarm that October last year the website the domain was about to expire, and which means anybody can hijack that and put it on public, like on eBay, to sell the website. But that is by the way. Now, when it comes to the server, I was monitoring this server remotely, and now find out there are so many movements on the website that is not reaching the adequate server where the result is being transmitted. Because when you come to this server, I'm going to let you know exactly how it works so we can understand. Now, it's like you take your credit card or debit card to a shopping mall or to a market, to a shop to buy something. Now, your credit card or your debit card is like your PVC. Okay. Now, there's something called the merchant POS. The POS is like the beaver, which is the one the INEC is using to swap the cards or to do accreditation. Now, if you have a shop, before you have this kind of account, it's different from ordinary bank account where the money will be, will be transferred after your sale. This is called a merchant ID account. It's a special account. And for you to incorporate this account into your server, you need what is called an API login, which is an encrypted code for you to incorporate your website, which is the POS, the selling point, or the POS center, or the pooling unit will incorporate this to INEC website. From that INEC website, it will now exactly like the server have to connect with the bank in your bank account, connect with the host of the server, which is the merchant, and also connect to the point of sale, which is the pooling unit. So what happened during the time of the election is during the presidential election, what they did was to shut down the server. And when you shut down the server can work offline. That is why you see I sent also a message at that moment, that Saturday, that people telling them how they can upload their results offline, so that even if it did not reach the server, it will still be halfway. That whenever the server is being put in on, then it could go, it may not, it may also bounce back, but at least they will get a message that the result they transmitted did not get to the destination. Just like you sent an email to an email that doesn't exist, or the server is being deleted, the email will bounce back and notify you that this message has been returned undelivered, and the server has been looking for DSN or appropriate server to deliver the message. That maybe sometimes the server will try again automatically.
That's correct.
So that is what happened. So this was, sophisticated and deliberately planned to shut down this server. And this is exactly what happened. So most of the results was transmitted manually because the point of sale did not see the final destination. Just like you have a credit card that have $2,000 limit. If you go to shop and swipe it for $4,000 purchase, automatically it will decline because the server concurrently will see all itself and understand that there is insufficient fund at the end, and this having a specific in a second. But if you shut down the server and maybe the merchant trust you that okay, you can process sales offline, they can, but maybe your limit is 5,000, you can still process transaction offline and manually upload it in the next day when they come back to work. So sometimes server can have jam-packed, it can jammed, it can destabilized, but this is deliberate. So what Inec supposed to have done at that moment is to have an alternative way of transmitting the result on what is called security analysis before they go into the polling unit as a backup. In fact, there could be second server so that if this didn't work, the other one can work. So deliberately, what I understand, the error was deliberately orchestrated. But now, the way I see the INEC rushed to issue a certificate of return shows that something is really wrong. So to my observation and my monitoring during the election, the server was completely shut down. At a time the server will come up and at a time the server will go off. So INEC have a question to answer legally and technically on why
Thank you very much.
This happened.
Yeah, very good, George. Let me before we go to the next question, let's see what INEC themselves. This is like an evidence. INEC said this sometime last year.
On this note, let me seize this opportunity to respond to a story emanating from a section of the media that the Commission has decided to jettison the uploading of polling unit level results in real time on election day. It should please be disregarded as fake news. The Commission will upload polling unit level results and citizens will have access to those results in real time as we upload to the polling units. This innovation was introduced by the Commission. The Commission cannot turn around and undermine itself. So this technology has come to stay. We'll upload polling unit level results from the polling unit. Citizens will have the right to view these results. After all, who are we serving? The citizens. How can we deprive citizens from access to the results of the process conducted by them at the level of polling units? So I welcome you to the Commission. I want to assure you and reassure you that the 2023 general election is going to be our best ever elections. We are committed, and that the votes cast by Nigerians will determine the outcome of elections. Nothing more, nothing less.
Thank you very much. So we just had that. That is coming from the man's mouth himself. It's not doctored. Nowadays, when things happen like this, they will say, that video was doctored. It wasn't real. He did it. He wasn't the one talking. It wasn't, they didn't say that. But this is the evidence we have Ekene. Ekene, with that being shown, as a cybersecurity expert that you are, uh, what do you think? You talked about some very important things, and I know that for sure. There is always a backup to every arrangement. There's always this backup, second plan to everything. So now, what do you think happened that day to the Inec server specifically? Can you tell us?
You see, this is the same thing I said
I
earlier.
wanna add to that question too.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I want to add to that question. I just wanted to also, and make sure. Okay, listening to Mahmoud Yakubu, the INEC chairman, and based on the tests that have already been done in Anambra State, in Osun State, and another state also, where this INEC server perfectly monitored the election and everything was transmitted successfully. This is based on that he was making these assertions. So, as an expert also, based on this, the whole entire thing, when you're answering this question, because this will show that this is not something that just malfunctioned all of a sudden. It's been time tested and panic proven before this time. Go ahead, Ekene.
Okay, you see, this is to add to what I said earlier, that this is, to my understanding, based on that I've been remotely monitoring the server right from time. But there are some certain things I cannot do because I was not officially engaged to do that. So it's like, make sure that my perception is right. But they intentionally shut down the server. Somebody was working on the server at that moment. And if you go inside that server, you can still see the result that being transmitted from the polling unit that did not reach the server. You can see how many attempts, incoming documents that is coming into the server that was bounced back and did not reach. You can see the attempt. So every point of sale, which is POS or the beaver equivalent, should be re-examined because the chips are there. From the manufacturer, we know all those things. There is something, a protocol number that need to be incorporated in every chip.
Absolutely.
And every chip have a unique identification number. So before INEC, it's just like a gun. When a police officer come to work in the morning, he go to sign his own gun in a where they're keeping the
Armory.
weapon. He will sign it with a number and the number of the bullets he's going out with, and the destination of the patrol, and how many hours. Those things are documented, right? So now every returning officer who was given this beaver machine, which is like a POS machine, have a record, have a serial number. So INEC, the other opposition parties should go to court. When they go to court, they should have a court order for all those things needed. But we are on air, there are some certain things, I'm not their legal advisor, so there is some things I cannot, because everybody is watching, there are some certain things I cannot dispose on air. But to my understanding, all those officers, the opposition party should open a hotline for every agent who encountered any kind of difficulty in uploading results should come forward. Okay, those are the things that they need to submit to the court as an evidence on first-hand testimony or first-hand testimony of the witness, instead of hearsay or second-hand information. So those are a substantial evidence that could be used to nullify this election. And they're supposed to also hire some experts to do a forensic audit of those machines and the results. But my own point here is the server was deliberately shut down because INEC have never complained of any server error. Because if there is a server error, then the host is responsible. Then INEC could not hold the host of their server responsible for, not deliver to their promises. But seeing the statement of INEC chairman shows that they knew what they were doing. They were ready, but they were compromised. On my own personal opinion, they were compromised because INEC chairman cannot claim ignorance of what happened. Because as long as he went ahead to announce the result, which means he's fully aware, because INEC is supposed to have a developer and the technical department and the cyber security experts. Those are the people that we should know, because during the election period, the server could be hacked. But this is not the issue. So the reason why they should have all those technical expertise as a backup is because anything can happen. But this issue is not like it was hacked. INEC have never raised any issue that their server was hacked. Anything like CNAME, DSN, server
Yes.
name, we can find all those things.
Yes.
It's not hidden. So we are not fools. We Nigerians, we are not fools, because the problem we have in Nigeria is taking somebody who studied agriculture and giving him a minister of technology.
That's correct.
Taking somebody who studied medicine, giving him minister of justice.
That's
It's
correct.
not gonna work. But in this particular issue, the server was deliberately shut down.
The server was deliberately shut down.
Yes.
Yes. So, Ekene, when the voting, now I'm taking us back to the voting 25th of February, Saturday. In the morning, the voting started. It was going smooth at a point. And for Lagos, for example, because Lagos, a lot of Lagos voters are tech savvy, at least to an extent. Everybody has phones that they could do real time updating. So as the updates, they were putting out their messages, and everybody became iReporter that day in Lagos. So we were going with it. I was also monitoring that here in the studio, but at a point that these things happened, complaints started coming in. Some voter electoral officers started saying they can't upload. They can't upload. There were sheets and they can't upload. So apart from the uploading, even at that point in time when they started writing with papers and everything, they were now doctoring, cleaning. Some people were using T-Pest, cleaning eraser to erase figures they have written, and all this was happening. And all this was happening because nobody could upload again. Connection to the INEC database was off, so everybody could do what they wanted. Anybody could do anything. Now, from your own from your angle as an expert, don't you think that even when they said, let's assume INEC said it was hacked, couldn't they now say, okay, couldn't there be another alternative? Let me just put it to you. Couldn't there be another?
At this moment,
Mhm.
INEC have never said that their website was hacked. And we cannot put word into their mouth because it is their responsibility. Because Nigeria trusted them and there was a huge budget. They were ready. So it's not by excuse. And as long as I'm concerned, there is nothing like hacked into the server, because for you to hack a server, it's not about INEC. It's about the host.
An
Just
intruder.
like saying that Zenith Bank or any bank in Nigeria was hacked, but it cannot affect anything. What was hacked is not the the bank website, because bank website is just like it's a formality. Every bank, there is something called a software provider in Swiss called like Swiss something Swiss. They are the provider of banking software. So bank may rent this server for $20,000, $10,000 per month, because Nigerian banks cannot secure any server. There is standards to meet in order to, you understand? So in order to go into banking system, there is a standard by the World Bank. So that software have to be tested up to international level, which Nigeria does not have the capability. So there is company that is providing that website, and they have adequate security on it. So they rent it out. Now, Inec does not have their own server. They don't have any cyberspace. What they did is that they bought a website and they host that website to them. Look, I've been in so many conference, like United Nations conference, even during pandemic. I attend conference online. There is some voting on resolution. We did voting through what do you call it? PowerPoint, ordinary PowerPoint. Microsoft PowerPoint, where you have an access with your password, you vote. The vote, after they count the vote, you see the results. You understand what I mean? So are you telling me that if a Nigerian bank can give a POS machine to somebody in the market who is selling akara and guguru and whatever, to sell at the point of sale and swap his card, and that card charge 200 naira, right? And the bank will see it. The fraud did not happen. So how come an INEC, who is just an organization with a very big budget, that they gave their budget to National Assembly for approval in order to get ready for this election? So it's not something they can give an excuse that their website was hacked or it was deliberate.
Yes, but what you didn't understand what I'm trying to say. Sorry, George. What I'm saying is, yes, we know it was deliberate, but around the midday on Saturday the 25th, that announcement came out. It's been hacked. Intruders have entered the hacker. Now, what I'm saying is, couldn't there have been, to show that they mean, you see, I mean, if a wise thief is thieving, if a wise thief is stealing, he has to think all corners. Shouldn't they have said, okay, now let's do it analog and see how everybody will do, instead of allowing people now to be erasing numbers, tearing papers, and doing all these crazy things that we saw? Couldn't there have been option B? Option B, okay, use PowerPoint like you just talked about. I did an online voting for diasporas, Nigerian diaspora, and we have there lots of software and lots of applications for that. I don't know why they make it look like it's one out of space kind of thing. So couldn't there have been that? Why do they allow?
Mark,
go ahead.
Your question based on what he is saying is illegitimate, because he's telling you that these people intentionally, based on his expertise observation, intentionally shut down the server. It wasn't hacked. It couldn't have been hacked. So what he's trying to tell you is that it was intentionally shut down for a purpose of manipulating the election. So all these options you're talking about, they must have known about it, but they will not implement it if the aim is to manipulate the election, which was what happened. So what we are saying here is, we want the public to know that there is absolutely no excuse whatsoever. For whatever reason, they might have concocted up to tell us, oh, something happened. Mahmoud is responsible and must be held accountable. That's what he's trying to tell us. Now, my question basically is this.
Go ahead.
We know that most of these things were trying to be uploaded, but they never did go in. Therefore, they manually entered and manipulated a lot of numbers and entered it themselves. It's all over all over YouTube, it's all over the social media. People coming out, even with some of these results that were thrown away by some people. We've seen that. My question is there any kind of technical way that these results that were supposed to have been, sent to Inec Center, is there a way that can be, without getting those equipments itself, can it be recovered? Because let's say hypothetically that 1 million votes was, or let's say 500,000 votes were, inserted into that equipment and wanted to be uploaded to Inec Center. But because it was shut down, it did not go. Is there a way those things can be recovered so we will know the actual votes rather than the ones that were manipulated?
Look, let me tell you, I'm telling you as an expert on what I know. This is not an assumption, okay? In terms of technology, this beaver, I believe, was incorporated with a camera, like what do you call it, a tablet, okay? So for you to upload that result, you need to put the photo in front of the result and take a snap of it.
That's correct.
Then you go to upload. Even if you couldn't upload it, the result is still there. So if any documents was deleted, we can still retrieve it through the chip.
That's correct.
We can know. The manufacturers they are not stupid. You understand? Those are work of experts. They know, and the manufacturer have their own backup, because it's like a Mercedes vehicle. If you ship a Mercedes vehicle to Nigeria and something happens, you take it to a Mercedes dealer. They put a diagnosis system on it, and when they put it, every vehicle have a serial number, and serial number is incorporated on the brain box, which you put on that machine and diagnose it. When you are diagnosing this system, is connecting to Stuttgart head office in the engineering section computer server, and the results will be installed there already. They know, they're seeing your message, they are communicating it just like a phone line, and they send you the reports, and they will tell you, okay, your car is having a misfire from the third plug. It's very, very simple. If you don't know all those things, you think what is happening to your car is juju or this or that. But technically, those things are in the server. It's technology. So my point here is those people that manufactured those machines know that there could be a failure or manipulation, human error. So you see, they need to provide all those. We need to ask a technical question. I believe the INEC chairman is not a computer scientist. He's not I don't know what is.
He's a professor of history.
Okay, he's a professor of history. Then he's not a technocrat in that field, but he's a manager.
He's a manager.
Okay, so there is a distinction. I always say distinction between a managerialism and a technocrat.
That's correct.
The distinction is, as I always said, that you don't know anything about sea, but you manage as a carpenter to buy a ship. So you become a manager, but you hire a technocrat, somebody who knows the sea north and the deep sea and the navigating system and the risk inside the sea, how the sea can, the high and the deep of the sea. That person is a technocrat, right? But you, who is a novice as a manager, can have rights to say, I don't want my ship to go to Australia. I want it to be within the west coast of Africa, right? So you have your own input jurisdiction as a manager, and the other person as a technocrat have his own jurisdiction. So somebody who is a professor in history or linguistic, or cannot manage that part of section of sensitive electoral issue, but he can hire people and supervise them, the expert. All what you need is, you can be in Australia and build a house in Africa, right? You pay a contractor and he build the house, and then you can put your water, put electricity, buy generator. So you already know when you are building a house, you're going to need the water, because there is no water, there is no electricity, right? You provide the generator. So are you telling me that INEC does not know this kind of uncertainty? Are you
Can
telling
I,
me that?
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because we have to, it's been alleged that Mahmoud Yakubu was compromised. There are so many things going on, certain amount of money, almost 200 was deposited into an account that was linked to him. It's an allegation. Others are saying 100 and, something, million dollars. Now, let's just, hypothetically, let's just assume that this is the truth. Then wouldn't you think that all these solutions that are available to find out the main truth about what is going on, if they are, if the allegations are true, would you not think that they will now go and try to erase and delete every single way that the truth can be found out, including bribing the manufacturers of this and the security system that are where that we they had contracted to do these things? Can they be shut up, or is there another way that the truth can actually come out, irregardless of what they try to do to cover their tracks? Because if this was done from an outsider, and Mahmoud Yakubu is trying to save his legacy, then we can say some of these things. But if he is actually involved and was compromised, wouldn't you? Is there a way that, regardless of what they try to do, that the truth can actually, finally come out?
Yeah, but the issue here is, I understand what your question, but in legal terms, there is no way anyone can hack a website without bringing down the server or knowing the server name. But INEC websites, when you buy a domain, right, you can decide to leave your information public or pay for, private. So the INEC website or domain was inscripted with anonymous information. So therefore, you cannot know most of the information. For you to penetrate and get the server name server or CN name, you need to do a lot of work. And that work means that the penetration will be coming in as an intruder. While that is coming in as an intruder, there is supposed to have been an IP address coming in. So those are the things that need to go through court order to ask an INEC. If I'm professionally consulted, we have a list of what a court can summon INEC to deliver to all the opposition parties, so that they can examine it independently with their own experts. You understand? In terms of server name, C name, and the DSN, the mask, because even on the polling unit, that beaver you see is connecting to a server, and the mask could be MTN mask, any mask that is giving network around. It's like a GPS, right? I have my own personal server where I can give you a device to put in your shoe. If you go to Africa and you are kidnapped, I can log in and see the last location. I can see where you are based on the last tower that is connected to that protocol number. Those are technology. We cannot be fooled. So in terms of your question, court order can serve as a purpose for the list of what is required from INEC technical department to give those things, make it open to Nigerians, Nigerians so that they can independently examine those things. Those that knows about it and can say, okay, this IP address is coming from New York, and before this IP address is connected to this server, what was if they use what is called VPN to bypass it, we can get a court order to the last, VPN IP address that were connected to we can check, we have all those things. But my point is that there are always a backup.
That's
If
correct.
you delete something from your phone, there are always, if you give me that phone, even if the phone got born, you put it in a water, I have a software to extract everything from the brain box of this phone.
That's correct.
Even though in a fire, there is nothing, anything there. As long as the chip is still there, you can extract those information. So
that's correct.
There is a way to do that. That is a forensic work. It's a
Okay.
computer forensic work.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Let me ask you because I mean, everything we're saying here, is all predicated on all things being equal. Because we know how the court system works in Nigeria. We have seen it again and again and again. Now, the people in power are the ones that are orchestrating, manipulating everything that has already taken place. Now, if the court is also compromised, what guarantee do we have that even after all these things, even when they know the questions to ask, even when they know everything that's supposed to be done, how do we know that they cannot also compromise those systems? Because what we consider Nigeria, even the court system, the general public does not trust it. They consider Nigerian court system to be a kangaroo court. They can be manipulated. So what I'm saying is, we don't have to make it easy for them to get away with this whole entire thing. For having enfranchising the public, the youths that took out their time to go and vote with the hope they have that the structure in Nigeria will change and will favor them. So how is it? I'm just trying to find a way, for the public to understand what we're dealing with. I believe that everybody knows what happened. I believe that, the president-elect knows exactly what he did to get to where he is. I believe that the president of Nigeria also is quite aware of everything that took place. And I believe that Mahmoud Yakubu also is very aware of it. Now the public is coming. The information is trickling in one by one about the whole entire system. My question is, what is it that can be done? Is it that the opposition now, the people that felt they have been, put aside or manipulated against, who can they go to? Can they involve an international, cyber experts to extract all this information before it can be manipulated or before those people can be compromised by being through bribery? Because this is the order of the day in Nigeria. We know it.
Yes, but in courts, you can lose your case on technicality. In law, you see, this is why they need a legal team, investigators, forensic officer. They have to work as a team, because you can lose your case on technicality. Judge ought supposed to have been neutral in the court, in his own chamber. Now, the issue here is that judge cannot bring evidence for you. You have to bring your own evidence. And the opposition will bring, and the judge will look into it and look into arguments. Okay? So you cannot depend on judicial system without doing your own work or quoting things out of your own mind. Like today, P2B was talking about giving statistics. It is an error for P2B with his position today to answer a question on how he can muzzle this issue in the court. Making a statement of statistics of 2015, 2019, 2013 is irrelevant. Those are not evidence. I don't know if you understand my point.
I do.
Those are not evidence. After all those statements, statistics, quoting the figures, nobody will admit it in there because it's irrelevant to the fact of the case. The point here is this particular election, because every case is on its own merit. You cannot bring the merit A to merit B. If they focus on their own merit, they will gain what they want. If they start telling us the history of Nigeria independence, start telling us about what happened in 90 before Christ, before AD, it's not the issue at this moment. What they need is to reach out all those people that have difficulties of uploading the eyewitnesses, to start compiling them as a witness, compiling
But
their...
what if those people were also compromised? What if they find out the people that were having difficulties because they have the equipment, they have the Inec equipment, and they're supposed to return them?
Some evidence already surfaced. As long as they say, okay, I'm having difficulty and this and that, those things, even all those things, before it disappear on YouTube, Facebook, they should keep piling it. And there could be a summon like subpoena to those people to come and testify. It's for national interest. And none of them can come and manipulate themselves, because forgery is a crime. Misleading is a crime. Making statement under oath. That's why you've been sworn in under oath that whatever you say. So if you lie under oath, it's become another case. So those are the things. The problem here is the legal team. Are they willing to go at length? Are they willing to work? Are they willing to do their research? Are they willing to open their arms for people to come in, instead of surrendering P2B and blocking people who have something to offer to reach him? You understand? Because some of the people around him may not have the expertise, they may not have the experience, but because they are PA, the problem in Nigeria is not the leaders. Even Buhari, the problem is not Buhari, it's the people surrounded him. Because he cannot be everywhere. The problem in Nigeria is those PA that are close to you, that can have the protocol before you can reach the Oga on the top. Those are the people that doesn't know what they are doing, brothers, sisters, in-law, and they cannot accept that they don't know what they're supposed to do. But because they are there, they are close to this person, they are close to this person, you see, they cannot do the right thing. So what I'm saying here, they need to assemble their legal team, involve experts, and also so that what happened in Imo State will not replicate itself, because they already start losing focus. I know they may have their own strategy, but what I'm saying is that you cannot say the judicial system does not work. P2B said it today that he is the beneficiary of Nigeria judicial system. So if you do the right thing, you present your case well, you argue well, it's very clear what happened. For Inec to rush to give certificate of return, which means something is not adding up. So based on your question, I'm telling you that, when you are going into business, you need to do what is called a business plan. That business plan have a risk assessment, they have a projection, they have, finance, you have purchase, you have debt. And the INEC have submitted their own proposal to the National Assembly for what they want for the credible election 2023, and the National Assembly approved it and gave them the budget. So there's no excuse. So what you are saying, if they cannot recover those things and there is evidence, is a ground of nullification, to nullifying that election.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You've put this is putting out the record straight. All I would deduce from this is also the fact that Nigeria is not really ready for transparency in governance. All you've said is understandable. Mostly, those of us here in the West, we understand how these things work. I fix hardwares and I work on the hardware sector too, and I very much understand what you said. It's clear, it's simple. This whole thing was planned, but they did it in a very shabby way. Even though it was planned, they did it in a very. It shows how whoever their IT experts are don't even understand technology that much. Anyway, George, I don't know if you have any last
Yes,
words.
I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Right.
There are things. There are things that trickled out during the the campaign section when the current president-elect was shouting, "Emilakon, it's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn." It's my turn sounds like a contract that was secretly signed between the current president and himself. So when he started, if you remember, these are things that we need to pay attention to, because I believe that the current president was backed against the wall to allow this compromise to go on under his shepherdship of Nigeria. So if we look at it from that standpoint, we will see a shifting in the attitude of the president himself from the way he wanted the election to go to when all of a sudden he came out and then was able to, started, in short, appearing before and sanctioning this man and supporting him and all that kind of stuff. So my question is, he wants to leave a good legacy, but yet in their strategy to manipulate the election and their machinations, it did not work out very well. If now that was the case, that this was a promise made to him, that's why he kept on saying, "It's my turn, it's my turn." You don't come out and say it's my turn unless I had a bedroom conversation with you last night or whenever that took place. When Buhari came into power, we said, okay, you're going to go there for 8 years. Now, all of a sudden, maybe a promise was made to this man that made him kept on trying, Emilakon, if you don't now agree to the terms that we agreed upon, I'm going to expose everything. And maybe that's what it is. This just, all our allegations is alleged, but there is something, there is never a smoke without fire. So finally, my brother, what would you think would be the solution right now for Nigeria, for the justice system in Nigeria, and for this particular election?
The issue here is, I'm
yes.
not
I want us to, okay, go ahead, but let's be brief.
On what you are saying or an assumption.
Yes.
I have to say something unprofessional.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
That have to.
It's not I said it's alleged.
With a backup. What I'm telling you, is not. I cannot determine what you ate yesterday. I cannot determine what you discussed with whoever you saw.
It's okay.
Yesterday.
Yes.
So my point here now is, regards to this particular cyber issue that was compromised, and the INEC chairman, I cannot say Buhari is responsible for it, because Buhari provided what they need.
He did. Thank you.
And the National Assembly approved the budget. So, and Buhari won 1 vote. Whether Buhari planned anything or Buhari is aware, this issue would have been prevented.
That's correct.
INEC chairman is responsible for this error, and it should be answerable by Nigerians. The way out is the opposition party, should go to court and file a case and follow by an interlocutory order to stop swearing in pending the outcome of the case. So
thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. We have to go off now. Thank you very much. You put the record straight. There's no need to rigmarole on it again. Professionally, you have said it. Thank you very much. Yes, this is it. Real talk, politics. We just dived into issues addressing Nigerian presidential election 2023, the INEC server being compromised on the electoral result transmission. and we've been talking with Ekene Azubike, a security expert in Canada. So viewers, we thank you. Join us next time. More discussions will be coming, good discussions that you will be able to decide on your own what is the way to go. So on that note, I want to say thank you, George. Thank you, Ekene. Till we come again
very
next
much, and thank you for
thank you. Bye-bye.